Amen. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost, and is found. The older brother is fit to be tied. Let's call him Fred. Fred just arrived home after working from sunup to dusk, running hands, fighting birds and scorpions, weeds and wild goats. He's physically spent and he's angry, like he is every day, that his brother has left all this to him, loser. It barely helps his mood to think of him starving on the border, his inheritance wasted on tequila sunrises. If he came back now, he'd be sorry. He's no brother of mine. There are many stories about brothers. It's a famous relationship. Sisters make for drama too. Vying for top spot as siblings teaches us either service or sin at an early age. The war between brothers, raging with hormones, outdoing the other, is a battle won and lost in all generations. If they survive, they'll be a team sharing a love for each other. If this never happens, they'll be the most bitter of enemies. Cain, envious of his brother, killed Abel in the field. Ishmael gave his new brother Isaac grief, so he and his mother were cast out. Esau was careless, and Jacob tricked his brother out of his legacy. Joseph was taken by 10 older brothers and sold as a slave. Moses stuttered, so God sent brother Aaron as his spokesman, later to be his high priest. David, youngest of 8, was chosen over all his brothers as king of Israel. Jesus' disciple Andrew brought his brother Peter to Jesus. James and John were fellow fishermen and brothers. There is energy between brothers that raises questions. If they're at odds, they can be defeated. If they have each other's back, their combined power is more than 2. I had sisters. I haven't had the experience of this parable. Though I have 3 brothers-in-law, Jesus said that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. John wrote, he who loves God must love his brother also. We are a new family of Christ, of which Christ said, whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. Christians have long regarded one another as sisters and brothers. This is wonderful. Yet sometimes we must work out our sibling issues. They will be there, as real as natural families. So here stands Fred, fuming. He's already angry. He's angry most of the time. His father's too old to help. Dad's always praying for the lost son, the good for nothing. Fred has a routine workaday relationship with Dad and with himself. He doesn't work for the good of his own farm when his younger brother, call him Jeff, took off. The old man's wealth was divided. The money went south with prodigal Jeff, and the land stayed with Fred. The farm was his now, with the aging father living on his son's property. But the gift was not received. Fred still thinks himself a slave rather than a landholder. He begrudges the work and the sweat. He hates his brother for running out on them. Jeff took the money, but he didn't really receive it. It was cruel for him to ask It put the family in jeopardy, taking security away from home, saying, "You're all dead to me." He claimed it as his right, not as a family treasure. Then he played the fool, running up tabs at saloons and cat houses until it was all gone. He didn't invest his inheritance, use it for the blessing it was, he just threw it away. Neither brother saw their inheritance for what it truly was. Jeff saw it as nothing. Fred saw it like it wasn't his. All dirty and damp, Fred asks the servant what all the fuss is. He observes activity, excited tones, the prize calf at the slaughterhouse, and music from the house. "Your brother's back. Your father said, 'Butcher the calf for bringing him safe and sound.'" That did it. Days of back-aching work, nights wishing other company than Dad's, hating his brother, all adds up. If they think I'm going into that house, they're crazy. No way. I will not see that ingrate. I'm spending the night in the barn. Jesus tells this story, setting us all up. We focus on the joker who ran off and blew the fortune, ate with pigs, hatched the scheme to return to the family as a servant, just for some decent food. His aims aren't much higher than they were before. Jeff is still just looking to eat. He'd had his fun, drinks and girls and lost nights, and dark moments of starvation, absent fair weather friends, mean bosses. He now sees the difference between father and cruel masters. Learn the hard way. He practices his lines and stumbles homeward. We watch the father. He's a sermon in himself. His forgiveness, his humanity, a father's undying love, unconditional welcome, is the graciousness of our Father's kingdom to which we are invited, not as guests, certainly not as slaves, but sons and daughters. It's unbelievable how welcome we are in places made for us, mansions, tables groaning with a great banquet. We see the father running to greet the lost boy. And we think, yes, this is the end of the story. But we're ambushed by the epilogue. Fred hadn't seemed like a real part of this family. Now he comes larger than life. We understand his bitter wrath. How could this idiot take all of our money and burn it like that? What makes him think he'll just walk back and show his face here? What's Dad's doing letting him back? A big party for him? Kill the calf? What about me? I work like a slave for this place. We get it. If we've ever been the hard worker, ever held up more than our end, ever given more than we got, we understand Fred. But then maybe we don't get the story. Jesus' gentle trap opens beneath us, and we're caught like fish. Heaven is not just for the hard workers, dutiful and on time, well scrubbed, vaccinated, lined up and distanced. Heaven is for schnooks. Heaven is for sinners. Heaven is for fools. Heaven is for the prodigals and street bums and stinky fishermen and bedeviled hookers. I'm sorry, didn't you know that? It's not a reputable place if we judge it by the first state of its denizens. At the start, every true son and daughter of God is rotten. Heaven is where we go when we discover we're not okay as we are. Even if we didn't go off to foreign parts and waste a fortune partying, even if we didn't join a cult and worship the devil and do drugs, even if we never did anything worth being arrested for, even the squeakiest, cleanest of us, then we're the older brother. We are one or the other, and we may have been both. Jeff obviously needs to confess and cry over his sins. His are evident. Fred's sins we might see as fine character traits: diligence, ethical in business, trustworthiness, loyal, self-sacrificing. But these fine traits were followed like a grudge against him, against himself, and against his family. He resents his decision to work on this farm, ignoring his inheritance and the generosity of his father. Doing 1,000 good deeds in resentment turns every one of them sour as rancid butter. Heaven is not for such virtuous, hate-filled men and women. Heaven is for the drunk who crawls to the feet of Jesus and says, "I blew it. I'm sorry. I don't deserve you, but I beg to be forgiven." Fred needs to get on his knees and cry out his own pain. I've hated you all my life. I've hated the work, the fields. I've hated myself for coming under obligation. I've burned with hatred against my poor brother. It's a more difficult prayer than that of the drunkard. It wasn't so obviously a sin, not until the drunkard came back. People have disregarded the Bible and claimed its stories are myths. But myths are only teaching stories based on reality. Jesus told a lot of myths, what we call parables.
These are true.
And in his mouth, they become familiar and true. We know these people and they live in us. We hang portraits of this family. We really like the Father a lot. Jesus urges us to be like the Father in his willingness to forgive and to love. It's his promise to us.
We have
He
to
said, be perfect as your Father in heaven, perfect,
perfect.
sinless, boundless in heavenly virtues. We will someday be. We'll be forgiving to all and love like God when we've arrived in that place. We have nothing to defend. We all lay it down, high or low, elder or younger, Fred or Jeff. Nothing left to save, not even our dignity. Nothing to gain, for everything is freely given to us.
Right.
Can we envy or object to anyone in heaven if we are in heaven ourselves? Let God serve the choice calf to that man who tried to give a wicked life for a while. He's only here because of Jesus, and I'm only here because of Jesus. The difference between us may be that he's more grateful than I am. Hear Jesus' comforting voice, younger children. Welcome home, my dear son and daughter. I've heard your speech, and that's okay. But why don't you let me get you better clothes, a robe, and here's a ring for your hand. What are you doing out there? Come inside. Your room is ready. Don't you ever leave us again. Hear God's voice now, elder children. My child, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost